The Mediterranean just became the center of a global power signal. And this time, the Pentagon wanted the world to notice. A U.S. Navy Ohio-class ballistic missile submarine, one of the most secretive and destructive weapons platforms on Earth, surfaced in Gibraltar on May 10, 2026, in a move the Pentagon almost never publicizes. And the timing? That's what has military analysts, diplomats, and social media exploding with speculation tonight. Because just hours earlier, President Donald Trump reportedly rejected Iran's latest ceasefire proposal, calling it totally unacceptable. Then suddenly, the U.S. military publicly confirms the arrival of a nuclear-capable submarine near Europe's strategic gateway to the Mediterranean. Coincidence? Or calculated geopolitical messaging? Now here's the hook that makes this story bigger than just another military deployment. The Pentagon almost never reveals the location of these submarines. We're talking about Ohio-class boomers, stealth submarines designed to disappear into the ocean for months while carrying submarine-launched ballistic missiles that form one leg of America's nuclear triad. Their entire purpose is to remain invisible. Yet this time, the U.S. Navy practically put out a press release saying, "We're here." So the real question is, why reveal it now? And more importantly, who was the message meant for? Iran? China? Russia? Or all three? Before we break that down, hit that like button and subscribe, because this story is developing fast, and what happens next could reshape the balance of power in the Middle East and beyond. Let's unpack this. According to the U.S. Sixth Fleet, the submarine arrived in Gibraltar on May 10th as part of what the Navy called a demonstration of capability, flexibility, and continuing commitment to NATO allies. Sounds routine, right? Except military experts know ballistic missile submarines don't usually make public appearances during moments of escalating geopolitical tension unless Washington wants adversaries to notice. That's what makes this deployment so fascinating. And here's where the story gets even more intense. This isn't happening in isolation. The U.S. and Iran have already exchanged military strikes in recent weeks. Reports indicate American naval forces clashed with Iranian assets near the Strait of Hormuz, and earlier this year, the Pentagon confirmed a U.S. submarine sank an Iranian warship, the first American torpedo kill against an enemy ship since World War II. So when Trump rejected Iran's latest proposal and then the Pentagon publicly acknowledged a nuclear-capable submarine deployment, many analysts immediately interpreted it as strategic signaling, what some call deterrence theater. Basically, a warning without firing a shot. And location matters a lot. Gibraltar sits at the entrance to the Mediterranean Sea. It's one of the world's most strategically important choke points. Any military movement there sends a message across Europe, North Africa, and the Middle East simultaneously. That means this submarine isn't just parked somewhere random. Its visibility is the point. Now here's something most headlines are missing. The Pentagon did not reveal the submarine's name. That's important. The U.S. confirmed it was an Ohio-class ballistic missile submarine, but stopped short of identifying which vessel specifically arrived in Gibraltar. And that ambiguity may be intentional, because uncertainty itself is part of nuclear deterrence. America wants rivals to know the capability exists, but not necessarily know every operational detail. That creates psychological pressure. And online reaction has been explosive across Reddit and defense forums. Users debated whether the public disclosure was a dangerous breach of operational security or a deliberate show of strength. Some called it reckless escalation. Others argued adversaries already tracked these movements through satellites and intelligence systems anyway. But regardless of which side you're on, one thing is undeniable. The symbolism here is massive. Think about it. A nuclear-capable submarine, a rejected Iranian proposal, rising naval tensions, and a public Pentagon announcement all within the same news cycle. That's not ordinary military bureaucracy. That's strategic communication. And there may be another audience watching very closely. China. Remember, Trump is reportedly preparing for high-level talks with Chinese President Xi Jinping later this week. Beijing maintains close ties with Tehran. And the timing of this submarine announcement could also serve as a reminder that Washington still dominates strategic naval deterrence worldwide. This is where geopolitics gets layered. The submarine itself may never fire a weapon, but its appearance changes calculations. It influences negotiations. It pressures adversaries. It reassures allies, and it sends a message that America's nuclear deterrent remains active, mobile, and ready. Now let's talk about the Ohio class itself, because these submarines are basically floating fortresses. The U.S. operates 14 Ohio-class ballistic missile submarines capable of carrying Trident II nuclear missiles. These vessels are considered among the quietest and most survivable nuclear platforms ever built. Some experts even describe them as the backbone of America's second strike capability, meaning even if the U.S. were attacked first, these submarines could still retaliate. That's why their secrecy matters so much. And that's why publicly acknowledging one during a geopolitical crisis instantly grabs global attention. But here's the part nobody can fully answer yet. Is this pure deterrence, or the beginning of something bigger? Because history shows military signaling can either prevent conflict or accidentally accelerate it. That's the razor's edge global leaders are walking right now. And if tensions with Iran continue escalating, this Gibraltar deployment may end up being remembered as one of the defining warning signs before a much larger confrontation. Or it could simply be a carefully staged demonstration designed to force diplomacy back to the table. Either way, the world is watching. And tonight, somewhere beneath the surface of the Atlantic and Mediterranean, America's most secretive weapons platform just became very public. What do you think? Was this smart strategic deterrence or dangerous escalation? Drop your thoughts in the comments, because this story is far from over.